You have a second question, so if you've got the microphone, I'll let you keep hold of it.
Great, thanks. My second question is regarding the Riverside Promenade. And Cambridge City Council has long had a vision for the Riverside Promenade, which would stretch between Midsummer and Stourbridge Commons. And phase 1 of this project was completed in 2011. The stretch of Riverside between the Riverside Bridge and Stourbridge Common is a popular walking and recreational space along the riverside of the road. Many people make use of this proximity to the river, despite the lack of a footpath on this side of the road and the numerous parked cars which impede access and also impede a clear vision of other road users. Cambridgeshire County Council is currently reviewing parking near to the Riverside entrance to Stourbridge Common. Incredibly, they are recommending that parking spaces be maintained between the junction with Stanley Road and the entrance to Stourbridge Common. So this evening, I'd like to propose the following resolution, which is: the East Area Committee notes the plans put forward by Cambridgeshire County Council in their email from John Richards to residents and councillors dated 22nd of January 2016. The East Area Committee reaffirms its long-term vision of a riverside promenade between Midsummer and Stourbridge Commons. As such, it deplores the proposal for parking bays adjacent to the river on Riverside and calls for the introduction of double yellow lines adjacent to the river alongside Riverside between the Riverside Bridge and Stourbridge Common.
Okay, probably allow the Abbey representatives to answer this question. Councillor Whitehead?
Yeah, there is a scheme which John Richards has drawn up and we hope will be going out to consultation of the residents there. And obviously, in light of what the residents say, we will look at how they think about the scheme. I don't think it's the job of this committee to preempt the discussion of the plan before residents have had a chance to comment on that plan. And hopefully we have got, after 2 years of struggle, hopefully we will have a plan that can go out to consultation in the very near future. There are two separate issues. One is the parking, which at the moment is pretty terrible. People are camping there and various things like that. And then the second is the cycle access and pedestrian access to Stourbridge Common. And we've got money for both of those schemes, and they have been put together. And as I say, it is, I think, more or less ready to go out for residents' consultation. So I don't really feel it's the role of this committee to preempt that consultation process with residents.
Any other ward councillor wish to make a comment on the question?
Hi, Tony. I think you know my views on this because we went to a residents' meeting together, and also we've been in contact about this several times. I agree with what Joan's saying. I think let's see what comes back from that consultation. What I would add is that I think in terms of, I mean, if I can speak on behalf of Abbey councillors, I think that we recognise that there should be a riverside vision, and very much so that it seems a bit rum that one end of Riverside, mainly from I believe it's section 106 from the Tesco, looks incredibly beautiful and clean and nice. Whereas the other end, which is near the Tesco, obviously is a bit more of a rough deal. If it were down to me, I would have a cycle path all along the railing stroke footpath, because I just think it's a beautiful walk. We've done things recently, as you know, we got the fence repainted, we put in new bins, new dog bins, new litter bins. We did a ward walk the other day to look at some of the actual social issues, the litter-related cleaning issues that I cover at the council. And I know that Richard and Joan have been working obviously on the gate. One thing that I was quite keen to do from our previous correspondence was to make sure, because it's the teams that we have at the council, which come under my portfolio on the council, do streets and open spaces, that use the gate, hence why the gate has to have access for cars, for council vehicles. We put an awful lot of pressure talking to officers, and I'm glad from seeing the initial email exchanges that have been going on that it now looks like we'll be using the Oyster Row entrance, enabling to make it even more accessible in terms of for cyclists by having essentially the two-way entrance along the riverside, but also on top of that to make the likelihood, I would feel, that should parking potentially be removed, not necessarily now, but in the future, that the fence is ready, one of the most expensive bits of the whole project. Apart from that, I mean, as I say, we have an awful lot of issues in streets and open spaces to do with Riverside, a whole range of, it's a complicated array of issues. It's CCTV at that end, if you remember, last year, now the county telling us we can't put up the CCTV anymore because their lampposts can't support it, and all this sort of ridiculousness that we've had to deal with. And I think we've come an awful long way in a relatively short space of time that at least my party have been in control of the council. And I just hope we can get that final push, because I do know from the figures, I haven't seen the exact figures, but from what John Richards told, as mentioned, the figures of cyclists and pedestrians going through that gate on Stourbridge Common is astronomical. And with the new bridge, which this committee has supported as well, and also put money into at the initial stage, that's only going to get higher. And we feel that there are a number of issues that we're teetering on the edge of just getting to where we want to be, but we're still not quite there. So I think we shouldn't rest on our laurels, but we should definitely push towards a Riverside vision that does have that promenade all the way down. So I mean, I've always been in favour of it, as you know. So I don't know if Richard wants to say anything.
Yeah, I'll make a comment on the first part of the question from the East Area point of view. And I think Councillor Whitehead has sort of answered perhaps the second part, in that there's a consultation either forthcoming or currently, and obviously views will be expressed and decisions at the end of that will be made. But in terms of the long term, and this is how long is the long term, I think we clearly supported both in principle and in financial terms the first part of this promenade vision, and I'm trying to remember how many years ago it would be now, probably 6-7 years ago at least. But it was clearly understood that the extra £1.2 million to complete it, because we did a third of it for 650,000, and probably the rest will be certainly of the same sort of financial sort of sum. If we had the resources to do it, I think we would be inclined to complete the whole promenade and see the vision sort of come to fruition. But as things stand at the moment, we haven't got that money. Therefore, in the shorter term, other practical sort of issues are being looked at, and obviously that is part of the consultation that you clearly have a strong view on, and we'll let the consultation and ward council particularly sort of try and make sense of that. But certainly as an East Area, we do still support the long-term vision. I'm sure we all do, in terms of what we would like to do for that Riverside promenade, and if it ever came through before we depart this planet, then that would be great for us all to see. But we haven't got the money at this present time. That's the basic facts of it, I think. Do you want to come back? I'll let you come back, of course.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. Yeah, we recognise you don't have the money to do this at the moment, of course. It would be very useful, I think, if it could be minuted or resolved in some way that this committee does reaffirm its long-term vision for the Riverside Promenade between the two commons. I think that would be very useful. From a personal point of view, I don't see how that sits at all with County then introducing 6 parallel parking bays.
Councillor Whitehead.
Yeah, there are residents who live down there, and presumably they need somewhere to put their cars.
There's plenty of parking space available in front of my own apartment building, which are used by commuters coming in from who knows where, parking their vehicles rather than using the park and ride, taking out bikes from the back and riding along. So there isn't an issue with residents parking.
I think as an East Area Committee, I think we still have a desire to see the long-term vision of the Riverside Promenade. I still think that's the case. We had strong support for it previously, and I still think that's the case. And if anybody wishes to say I've misjudged that, then to say now, but I think we're quite happy to reaffirm our commitment to the longer-term vision. But clearly there are practicalities to deal with in the interim and in the shorter term, and that's, I think, and you obviously expressed your view and will continue to do so, which is obviously your right to do. But members happy for us to confirm our support for the principle of the longer term vision. Yeah?
Can I just ask you, we would agree that even though it may involve knocking down houses, we'd be quite happy with that, wouldn't we?
I don't think any of us, I don't think any of us foreseen the knocking down of houses. Councillor Whitehead, no. No, that wasn't part of the vision. No. The vision was to make a very attractive part of the promenade from Stourbridge Common up to Elizabeth Way roundabout, and we've only completed a third of it. But you can see the difference, and obviously residents see the difference every day, and people who use it see the difference every day. But yeah. Okay, so we're happy to meet at that point. Excuse me, have one conversation, please. We are happy as a committee to reaffirm our support for that longer term vision. Yeah? Okay, thank you.
Cllr Whitehead, can I ask you about the consultation on Riverside? Yes. Why is it a consultation only with residents at the moment and not with people who cycle and walk?
It isn't a consultation yet, it will be.
The public speaker mentioned the consultation letter which had gone out to him, he gave the dates and gave what sounded like a
That's not what I'm talking about.
And so, except the consultation exists that the residents talked about.
I don't know what, but what I am talking about is the scheme for the end of Stourbridge Common, the Riverside end of Stourbridge Common. We are currently being refined, and then it will go out to consultation. But it's not gone out yet.
Will that second consultation step be with the wider public or just the residents? Because you mentioned it was just the residents when you answered the question.
I don't know, we could think about that.
Can it be a wide one? Can I ask you now to suggest that the astonishing number, or as Councillor Roberts said, I think, of cyclists and people who walk down there, can we be involved?
Well, I mean, I can certainly raise that. I mean, that's what we did on the Common end, where we were designing
So why are you so keen on giving these 6 residents their parking spaces and putting them ahead of the large number of people who walk and
That is
cycle?
my personal view. I think residents
Well, I'm asking you why you oppose that.
I think residents are entitled to parking. Sorry. I think residents are entitled to have a place of parking.
So
You don't agree with that, but that's my view.
well, I want to find out what your view is first.
That is my view. I think residents have the right to park their cars.
And you will stick with that view regardless of what the interests of the wider city are. Is that your view? The interests of these 6 residents will always outweigh the wider city, the wider
We
economy.
all have to share the space. Cyclists and car owners and pedestrians have to share space. So you have to take into account all of them. We are reducing the parking there significantly. Reducing it very, very significantly, leaving a small number of parking spaces for residents. So we are taking into account cyclists, we are taking into account pedestrians, we are redesigning it to make it better for pedestrians, and we are leaving a small number of parking spaces, removing most of them.
You just
for a
told
small
me
number of
that we
residents.
are keeping a small number of parking spaces, but you're also telling me there's going to be a consultation. So
Yes.
that's keeping it consistent. You're telling me the solution. And
I
you're also
say
saying the same.
my opinion is, if the consultation says we residents don't want to park our cars, it's okay, we don't want them, then we'll take
So what you're telling me is that your views won't be changed by the consultation, but the council more widely
You
might.
asked what my personal view was, and I gave it to you. What the council,
If that's going to remain when you've consulted the wider public.
I will not do the analysis that will be done by other people.
But your view will not change when you've consulted the wider public. Is that correct?
Sorry, if the wider public want those parking spaces to go, then they will go, irrespective of what my view is.
But your view will remain irrespective of what people like me say to you, as someone who walks and cycles in that area. You will always only take.
I'm taking into account cyclists, pedestrians, and people who live there who want to park. I'm taking into account people, not just cyclists like you do.
So your view that that these spaces should remain is based on a balance view, is it after considering signposts?
No. We've tried with this design.
Is it or not?
I got the money for this fucking design, okay? And what we are trying to do is take into account pedestrians and cyclists and a small amount of parking. And the most
Appropriate for a council to swear in a manner.
Yes, I do sometimes. Do you know, have you seen the mess it is there? Are you used to the mess?
Yes, I use the area regularly a number of times
We
a
are
day.
going to be able to sort that mess out. But we have to take into account residents, we need to park cyclists and pedestrians.
Why does that parking have to be on the Riverside, on that direct route between
Because that's where they live. Because that's where they live.
So people have to have a parking space directly outside the house?
They have to
Do you mind if I
So do you believe that everybody should be able to park outside their house throughout the city?
I think it's one of the things we have to consider, and most people pay to do that. I pay to do that to pay my car.
So
Most people do.
don't you think we can change things?
But are you saying we should get rid of cars? People, residents should have no right to park.
No, I would take a balanced
Well, I'm taking a balance, and I don't think yours is balanced at all. We're trying to take into account three groups of people. You are not. You're taking into account your own point of view and cyclists. That's all you're interested in. You're not interested in trying to say this space has got to be shared.
What your point of view is, if there's any, what your views on the consultation. If you're a councillor, you get to take the decisions. Your point of view is not irrelevant.
No.
I wouldn't be talking to you if you were not an elected councillor who is going to have a say in the decisions here.
If the consultation from the residents and everybody says we don't want these
The immediate local residents.
if everybody says
Sorry,
we don't
the consultation with the immediate local residents
and the
or
cyclists and
everybody
the
with
pedestrians. And if everybody says we don't want those six parking spaces,
What do you mean by everybody? Do you mean
but the people who answer the survey and were consulted,
so you mean
everybody was
you require
consulted.
unanimity in order to?
No, I am trying to give you an example. I'm trying to say if the majority say these places should go, then that's what will happen. And whether I agree with that or not is immaterial.
Would you like to apologise for swearing?
No. Not at all. Is equally important. And we don't forget how very rude you've been to Fiona Arsani.
Oh, sorry, how have I been rude to Councillor Stanley? Would you like to substantiate that comment?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can.
Oh, how have I been rude to Councillor Stanley?
Time ago. It was quite some time ago, and you were very rude to her.
All my lobbying is done in public, and so you can point to it. What are you referring to?
It was a long time ago, and Fiona doesn't want to take any further. We are very sorry that she didn't, because you were very rude. And I gather you frequently are.